Welcome back. Has anybody been watching the Percy Jackson series? My hot take is that it's kind of mid. I read the Percy Jackson books back when I was a kid, and I was never like a huge fan. I think I was more into Harry Potter, and I read them, and I'm like, this is kind of like that, but Harry's not in it, so I don't care as much. And I also remember really liking the first movie, even though I bet if I watched it now, I'd be like, no, it's bad. But anyways, the Percy Jackson show is on Disney or whatever. I've seen the first 4 episodes. I think there's one or two more out at the time of I'm recording this that I haven't got to yet. I don't know if I will. I'm just finding it very, very mid, like very average. It's not bad. I won't call it bad. It's much more faithful to the books. However, I feel like it has like a kind of weird pacing where I think it's too long. I don't think it needs to be as many episodes as it is. I don't know how many they're doing, if it's like 8 or... It feels like it should be 8 at the max, but I don't know if they're going to 10 or whatever. The book is not that long. The first book is not that long. You don't really need to stretch it out this far. I feel like they're also not really developing any of the characters well. I feel like they're not really using the extra time very effectively. It feels like just like every episode is like the events of one chapter but 40 minutes for some reason. I don't know. It's like a good example of whole lot of plot but not a lot of story. Like one of the things I'm finding very strange is I feel like it is, I'm not sure who it's for. That's what I'm confused about, because it feels like we're trying to do a more faithful adaptation to the books, meaning that it's for the audience that has already read the books, which would be fine. Because what I'm finding is that it feels like it's glossing over a lot of the big main like world building details of this universe, because it almost feels like it's like assuming that you already know about all that stuff because if you've read the books. But then at the same time, it's like trying to build up. Okay, so fuck, I'm jumping all over the place. So like one of the things that's frustrating me is like, at least in the first couple episodes, they're like trying to build up this mystery of part of the thing that Percy has to go on this quest to find the lightning thief, to find the who stole the lightning or whatever. And he gets this prophecy, and the prophecy's like, someone who calls you friend will betray you. So they're like trying to build up this mystery of like, who's going to betray Percy. And so they like make Grover like more ambiguous and like in his morality and his allegiances and stuff. He like betrays Percy in the first episode, which I feel like is not in the book. I haven't read the books in a while, so I could be wrong. He kills his pre-algebra teacher, who turns out to be a harpy or whatever, a fury. My bad, I should know this stuff. I played Hades. And then his teacher, who is secretly a centaur, and his friend, who is secretly a satyr, just fucking gaslight him. And that some of that's in the book as well. But then they like are like, we have to kick you out of school, Percy, because you were being a demigod, even though everyone in the room knows you're a demigod except for you. And then Grover's like, yeah, I'm sorry, Percy, but I gotta rat you out on this one. You were being a dick, and it's like, why would Grover do that? That doesn't make any sense. Why would they kick him out of school when they're the ones who are like supposed to be looking after him and checking in on him to see if he's really a demigod or whatever. And Grover's there specifically to protect him, so he needs Percy to trust him. And if Grover fucking gaslights him and betrays him in the first episode, why would Percy trust him? It doesn't make sense. It's stupid. I don't like it. And maybe some of that's in the original book, but I don't remember it. And then they give like Annabeth a little bit more like ambiguity on like how much she is necessarily trustworthy. But if you've read the book, and they build up like Grover and Annabeth like they may or may not be trustworthy, and maybe one of them's gonna be the one that betrays Percy. But like, if you've read the book, then you know neither of them is fucking gonna betray Percy. Even if you see the movie, you know it's Luke. It's that other guy. It's that other guy who betrays them. So I don't know why they're spending so much time like building up who's going to betray Percy. That makes me feel like it's not for the audience that has already read the books. But if that's the case, then how come they have like how can they gloss over like so many big details about like how this universe works and like why anything is happening? Like they set up that Percy is dyslexic, but then they don't explain that the reason he's dyslexic is because he's a half-blood and his brain is wired to understand Greek, so he has trouble with English. Like they don't say that part. They just show that he's dyslexic and then they move on. It's fucking weird. Then like eventually they're like, okay, Percy, you have to go on the quest to rescue the Master Bolt, which is Zeus's, which has been stolen. Like they don't even say what it is. They just, or why it's important. It's fucking Zeus's lightning bolt. The book is called, I have the graphic novel here. The book's called The Lightning Thief. And they barely talk about why the theft of the lightning is important. They're just like, you gotta go on this quest. And he's like, okay. They don't say why that matters. Or like they say that that Zeus thinks that Percy has stolen it. But they don't go into like why that's important. It's fucking Zeus's lightning. He can't fucking shoot lightning without it. It's like a big deal that it's stolen. That's like the whole gist of the book, and they like gloss over that detail. And I understand that like Percy's motivations for going on this quest are different than like Chiron and everyone else's who wants him to, who is sending him on this quest. They want him to fucking find the lightning and solve that problem, but he's going on the quest because he wants to save his mom. I understand that his motivations are different, so I understand why we're not necessarily focusing on why the lightning is super important, because Percy personally doesn't really care about the lightning. But, like, it's kind of a big deal that, like, it's kind of important in The Lightning Thief why the lightning was stolen. Like, and they talk about how Percy is, like, a forbidden half-blood or whatever. And that Zeus and Poseidon and Hades made a pact to not have any kids because their kids are, like, way too powerful and cause problems. But they haven't gone into, like, when that last was a big problem and, like, why that's been a thing. Fucking, like, the whole point is, and they haven't even really explained, like, why the gods are in America, like, which is, like, a huge point of the world building that they haven't that they've, like, maybe they mentioned it once, but it's, like, kind of been glossed over. I don't understand that if it's, like, the whole point is that the gods have been around since Greek times and that they've just, like, slowly moved west along with civilization. And so, like, as America became the dominant country in the modern world, like was because the gods were taking root there. And they go on to talk about how, like, in the last time that Zeus and Poseidon and Hades had a bunch of kids running around, World War II started. And that whole war was actually between the children of Hades and Poseidon and Zeus. And so they're like, okay, this is way too fucked. We need to not have kids anymore. So, like, that's the reason that this is, like, important. And they talk about, like, oh, you know, it's, you know, whatever, that's important and you're forbidden and that's, you know, you're going to be in more danger because of that. But they haven't, like, touched on, like, why that became a rule in the first place. It's fucking, I don't understand why they're not focusing on those, like, major world building details, unless they're assuming you already know that stuff because you've read the book. But if you've already read the book, then why are we spending so much time setting up Grover and Annabeth as red herrings when, like, we know that they're not the ones that are going to betray Percy? It's very weird. I don't like it. I don't think the show is bad necessarily. I'm just finding it frustrating and it's too long. And there's also a lot of, like, talking, but not a lot of, like, interesting talking, and it's like it's missing like the energy that something like the first Harry Potter had, where, like, the kids, just them interacting is fun to watch. These kids interacting is just kind of boring. Sorry. I don't think any of them are bad actors necessarily, because it's like it's consistent across the board with not just them, but, like, with other characters too. We're seeing just kind of go on for way too long. Characters talk for way too long, but not about anything very interesting. And we're getting a lot of, like, them describing certain aspects of their backstory, but not in a, like, engaging way. Show don't tell. Like, show me what these characters' personalities are and why they're friends. Like, I get that Annabeth is meeting Percy for the first time here, But like Grover and Percy have been friends already for a while now, so like let me see them be friends. I don't know. Oh yeah, this another thing. They keep meeting up with like creepy adults who turn out to be monsters, which is like a big part of this universe where everything that's like magic is secretly hidden as something else in the human world. But like they're talking for so long that it's like just stab them. Just stab them with your pen sword. Like they're clearly evil at this point. Just stab them. Just like every time some human walks up to them and starts being very creepy, it's like just stab them. They're probably a monster. Like in the book, they go into how they have these special magic swords made of celestial bronze, which is this like magic bronze that is designed to kill monsters and magical creatures and stuff. But it's also non-lethal to humans. Like it just will pass right through them. It won't hurt them at all. So like as soon as a human like walks up to them, they should just fucking be stabbing them. Like it's weird that they take so long every time to like react. And it's because we got to get to 40 minutes in the runtime. It's like so frustrating. Like, and that's another thing they haven't even established, that they have this magic bronze weapons, and that's like the whole thing. Like it's more like very like basic world building stuff that they like don't talk on, or they don't really go into, or they like gloss over. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy because I know some people are into this show. It's obviously much closer to the books than the movie is, but it's so long. I don't know why it needs to be this long and this slow. Like, at least have, like, interesting things. At least, like, flesh out your characters more if you're going to spend this much time with them. But it's just, like, mostly them talking to a lady on a train, and then the lady is a monster or whatever. And it's like, just stab her as soon as she walks up to you. I reread the graphic novel because I was like, maybe I'm missing something. And this isn't, like, this also isn't the perfect adaptation. They gloss over some stuff and they condense a lot of stuff. They skip a few things. But it's pretty close to the book, and I don't know if I really want to go back and read the whole first book again. Let me know in the comments if I should do that. Maybe I'll have a better appreciation for this show. I don't know. But even this does like a much better job of conveying the main plot and the main story. And there's a lot of exposition in this, and it skips over some stuff, but at the same time it gets all the main plot points and the main aspects of this world that make this world interesting. There is some stuff I like in this show. I do like that they're really leaning into Percy having a problem with his dad, as he should, because his dad like isn't a fucking around, like just isn't around, I mean, and hasn't been around his whole life. And like, yeah, Poseidon is like a little bit of a deadbeat dad in this series. He helps Percy out every now and then when he's like allowed to. But yeah, like Percy should not really be into having a relationship with Poseidon because Poseidon was never there in the first place. And like I know that there's rules and like, oh, he wasn't allowed to be there because of the whatever, and gods aren't supposed to interact with humans too much, and he was a forbidden child and all that nonsense. But like Percy never asked to be born. So, like, that's on Poseidon for making that choice. It's like, you chose to have a kid, you have to look after them. That's that's the rules. So, like, I like that they're kind of leaning into that angle. I really like some of the stuff with him and his mom. I think that stuff is all really good. But again, I'm just finding it very frustrating and very slow. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm alone on this. What are your thoughts? Have you been watching the show? Have you read the books? Am I crazy? Am I an asshole for not really being into it? And I want to like the show. That's what's like frustrating me, is like I want to be really into it, and I just haven't, like, it hasn't really hooked me, so I might not watch anymore. This might be a DNF for me. Should I reread the book? Is there more stuff in it that I'm forgetting that will make me appreciate the show more? I don't know. Leave a comment. What do you think? Percy Jackson show. Is it any good? I don't know. Maybe. Anyways, that's it for now. We'll see you next time with something else. Bye-bye.